Around the time that I first joined the Grotto in the early 90s, mid-90s, it was a very heady time for me. I'm not what you would call a huge John Denver fan, but I truly was born in the summer of my 27th year. That's when I fell in love with filmmaking, and at the same time felt very out of love with a career that up to that point had paid me very well, which was to write advertisements. So very quickly, I quit my day job and I enrolled in film school, and I became so militantly disillusioned with consumer culture as part of my transformation that I actually wrote in my film school application that advertising was pornography. Which is not only ironic, but as you'll see very shortly, prophetic, because of what I'm going to read to you tonight. It was around the time that I started making my first short film with my convictions in place and all the choices up to that point validated, that I realized that making movies is hella expensive. And at the time I was working split shifts as a cab driver and a hotel desk clerk. And they weren't paying for film stock or rent or eating or most other things. So I got a call from a friend who was offering me a freelance copywriting job. It was kind of like Al Pacino. Every time I think I'm out, I boom. So he said, this job will pay you $1,000 a day. And of course, my mind's just exploding with all the gaffer's tape and film stock that I can buy for $1,000 a day. And here's how he pitched me the job. Bro, I've got good news and better news. The good news is this job is going to pay us a shit ton of money. And I said, okay, what's the better news? He said, the better news is it's for a porn site. Now this was a dilemma, because advertising was pornography after all. But in my desperate mind, somehow the fact that this advertising was actually for pornography created this little, it was like a rhetorical loophole. So I took the job, and the client was called, and they're actually still in existence, the client was GameLink.com, and they were the world's first online porn superstore. And I remember checking out their website, and I went to the homepage, and at first glance I went, oh, well they have some legitimate film titles on sale here. That's kind of cool, On Golden Pond. And then I looked at the title a little closer, and I went, On Golden Wand. Okay. It was right next to Big Trouble in Little Vagina. So, I still didn't really actually want to write for them, so I said, do you need directors? And they said, no, thanks, just a copywriter. So, without further ado, here are the interactive web banners that I wrote for Walmart and Sleaze. And yes, my ticket to hell is punched. So, ad number 1, and these are the headlines. You know, you've seen banner ads, they're just text, and then they have a visual, these kind of blocky rectangles that pop up on the web. Ad number 1, click here if you can free your right hand for a second. That was mine. GameLink.com, your online sex superstore. Very classy. My apologies if you're a lefty. Ad number 2, and the visual in this one And these were my direct notes, word verbatim to the art director. A giant oscillating dildo. We're like Sears and Roebuck, only with slightly different appliances. GameLink.com, you're on, and I'll stop reading the tagline afterwards. Ad number 3, the visual of French Tickler. How's this for a teaser ad? The film that this paid for went to Sundance, by the way, so in the end. Ad number 4, visual, an array of condoms. See, I was even kind of literate in the way I described the visuals, I thought. Pay a visit to our gift wrapping department. You can see why they paid me a lot of money to do this at one time. Ad number 5, we ship worldwide. You've heard of XX Express Mail? Ad number 6, and this one was 2 frames that, one sort of dissolved into the next one. The first one said 69, and it showed a woman with kind of a come hither look. And the second one said, how about 30,000? With a vast array of adult merchandise. Some of these are better than others. Ad number 7, the visual, a hunky stud grabbing his junk. All orders discreetly packaged. I think I could have come up with a better visual for that one. No second chance. Ad number 8, visual, a woman's bulging breasts. When we say huge selection, we mean it. Thank you. Thank you. Keep the regret coming. Ad number 9, whatever turns you on. And the visual for this one involved a little special effects wizardry. It was a vibrator, but the text itself started moving, which I thought was kind of clever. Ad number 10, woman removing her bra, half off your first order. Ad number 11, and there's only 2 more, thank you. Ad number 11. I really want to skip that. Our videos get 2 thumbs up. Fingers too, sometimes. That one didn't run. Even they passed on that one. And I couldn't even think of a visual for that one. Ad number 12, in a clever nod to Motel 6, open day and night. We'll leave the red light on for you. And finally, lucky ad number 13, and this is actually the only one I'm proud of. I actually consider this one sort of literature. And I don't remember what the visual was, but the headline was, more pink, less green. And I'm not proud to say that GameLink.com today is the largest adult retailer online since 1993, which was the very year that I wrote these ads for them. Perhaps